So I'm Clare Sibley. I'm now Head of Quality and Manufacturing Engineering here at Williams. I'm getting used to saying that. I've been doing the job for 2 weeks. So it was kind of a bit of a switch from where I was previously. So this is my place of work. I'm very lucky to get to come here on a daily basis and work in the kind of big building you would have seen on the right as you drove in. So that's our offices, our factory and our build area, and then the wind tunnel is the building kind of parallel with us down here. So kind of my background, when I was at school, I was science and maths were kind of my forte. I hated anything that involved writing sentences, learning quotes and things like that. So as soon as I could, I gave all of that up. Took maths and science for A-level, and always knew I would go to university, never quite knew exactly what I wanted to do. A friend of mine's mum, who was a teacher, introduced me to material science, which you won't have studied at school as a topic, but you will have done bits and pieces of in different subjects if you do sciences. So it's more the applied side of physics and chemistry. It's about understanding how things work, why things behave as they do, why we can sit on the chair that we're sat on, why your mobile phones work, and understanding the science behind, whether it be the chemistry or the ins and outs of how your touchscreens work, and then working them into a product that you can use on a daily basis. And I loved that side of science. I loved understanding how the things around us worked. So it really appealed to me, and that's what I applied to do at university. So I spent 4 years studying that, still with no real idea of what I wanted to do when I finished. But just after graduating, I realised I just loved it. I'd loved what I'd learned. I'd loved kind of learning all of the different sides of that. And I thought, let's just see if I can find a job in it. Let's see if I can apply this to the rest of my career, and just kind of work in what I'd learned as opposed to kind of wasting that 4 years and feeling like it was just parked. So at that point I started applying for jobs. The other thing that I kind of really enjoyed about the subject was learning lots of different things, working on lots of projects all at the same time, and kind of really being a fast-paced environment. So that's where the kind of Formula One side came in, and at that point in time, a couple of companies were offering graduate schemes, and I applied for those, and I was very lucky to get a graduate position at Mercedes High Performance Powertrains. So they produce the engines that now run the Mercedes car, our Williams car, and the Racing Point car for this season, and McLaren in a couple of years' time again. So I started there as a graduate at a really exciting point in time in their history. So I started in 2010, which was about the same time that we were starting the development for the V6 engine and electronic systems that we run in the car today. So if you work on the timeline, that was a 4-year development into being able to race at the track. So we got to be involved as a group of graduates at that point in time, and other experienced engineers, in designing that product from the ground up, from a blank piece of paper through to the 6-time championship winning engine that we've seen for the last 6 seasons. And that was brilliant. I loved kind of being part of that, being able to do that blank sheet of paper engineering, being involved in lots of different aspects to that, seeing how it developed, how things broke, what we had to look at, how we fixed them. But sort of 6 years there, and I was getting a bit kind of looking for the next step in my career. And a job at Williams came up. So I wasn't desperately looking to get out. I loved what I did, I loved the team that I was working for, and obviously it was very successful at the time. But I knew that if I wanted to kind of step up, I was probably going to have to leave. My boss had been there a long time and probably wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. So the job here came up, and I applied for it, and I was lucky enough to get it. So 3 and a bit years ago, I moved from Mercedes up in Northampton down to here, and again, like as Rachel said, it was a bit scary. It was a time where I was moving from a team of 4. Materials teams tend to be quite small, especially in Formula One, to being one of 2 people in a team here, and I would be the lead. So it was a step into the unknown. I would be making the decisions. I wouldn't have kind of someone else necessarily to sound those off, but it was an opportunity. And at the time, as Rachel said, I kind of knew that I would regret it if I didn't take it. So I said yes, moved down here, moved my whole life, and haven't regretted it ever since. So I did just over 3 years in that role, leading up the materials team, which involves all sorts of different pieces of work. We do a lot of failure analysis, so when bits break, we get them back to the factory, we have to look at them and work out what happened and then explain to our mechanical engineers how we would stop them happening again. And then we also run research and development projects. So we're constantly looking for new materials, new coatings, new things that are out there that we can help boost our performance and make the car lighter and then therefore make the car quicker. So it's a really varied topic, and we get to cover all sorts of materials, so metals, plastics, composites, rubbers, adhesives, everything that we want to make the car out of, we will look at and study and test where required to kind of understand what the properties are and how we can use them on the car. So that was kind of what I was doing. And then for the last 2 weeks, so again, the opportunity came up to kind of move sideways within the business and kind of up a bit, take on more of a management responsibility, and start running 2 quite new teams within the business here, quality and manufacturing engineering. And they just take on more of the applied and practical side of what I was doing, getting more involved in our processes, getting more involved in how we're manufacturing things, what we're doing, how we're specifying that, and making sure it's right. So the quality side is making sure we embed practices into the business and kind of make sure that we can make the first part the same as the 6th part that we're sending to the track. So we know that the performance is the same, we know what our aerodynamicists are designing is what we're producing and sending out to the circuit, because that's where our performance lies, and kind of Lizzie will actually fill you in on a bit more of that, because that's her side of the engineering domain. But yeah, so in a culmination, just I think in total agreement with what Rachel said, it's about taking those opportunities, it's about talking about it as well. Some of my kind of trajectory, my career path has definitely come from me discussing things with my managers, saying that this is, I think I want a bit of a change, or I think I may be better placed here. I never knew, going back 10 years when I graduated, this is what I would be doing today. And I think it's good to have goals and it's good to have aims, but it's also good to be flexible as well. You never quite know what you're doing, because you find different strengths and weaknesses as you go through, and actually what I love about my job now is what I've just taken on, and actually I wouldn't have necessarily known that when I first graduated.